Welcome to Great Talking Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the podcast where I review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment official channel. Now let's go, baby! Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I hope everybody had a happy holidays and a happy New Year's. This is my spoiler review for episode 4 for the new Star Wars series only on Disney Plus, Skelton Crew by Star Wars. This is a spoiler review, so if you have not seen this show, pause this, give me a thumbs up, go watch it, then come back and let me know what you think about this episode and this series so far in the comments below. So again, this is a spoiler review. Y'all been warned. Now, let's get into it. Episode 4 starts off with the Skeleton Crew going to a planet that looks alike like At-Aten, but it is destroyed and abandoned. It may be the original At-Aten, but the crew splits up while keeping John Norwood in the ship as Fern and the other gang head off to figure out what's going on because they believe this is their home planet. They think that, and they're not understanding why yet until later at the end of this episode. So, again, this is a planet that kind of looks like it. Now, this may be a clone of it, like maybe the New Republicans started this, or maybe this is the original. But we know there's people here on this particular planet that looks like Earth in a way, but there's people on there and they live like a Mad Max life. So how did they get that IP story? I don't know. It's Disney, but but that's where they're at now. Like I said earlier, they decided to split up, but just like John Norwood, he ditches because he's gonna look and he goes a different way, but he meets up with a different group of tribe, which we will talk about them later. But while they're on this planet, the kids explore and they meet Yana, who is a child who has been secretly following the crew through the woods without their knowledge. She is part of this clan called Twerk Clan, and it is hiding from many different type of warriors. Then when Neil and KB are taken to the Archen view, this is a war-torn planet, but it's differently now. However, again, it is abandoned. You will see these lovable, adorable side of Neil as he starts to catch feelings for Hannah when he first meets her. And you see his like big eyes for her. And for this kid, for Neil, who's so far my favorite character of this show, I like them all, but he's just my favorite. He's going through a lot, and again, he's one of the kids who just were raised one way, and he's getting a different view, which all these children in the Skeleton Crew are getting a new taste of what reality is around these galaxies, that everything's not perfect, everything's not safe. And we see through this episode that they all learn like that in their own ways, of course, but especially Neil and Fern. Again, Neil, he didn't think that he would like anybody else, but he's a kid, he'll find other females, of course, but he really sees a different side, and now like he even cares, and she sees that in him too, because in this episode Hannah takes them to their leader, and he is a character that's like a Mad Max leader, and his name is General Strix, which is Strix. The leader of this clan offers them to train the children as warriors, as the Twerk community treats children as full-fledged adults. After the General Strix dismissed their questions about the location of At-Aten, it's been mentioned by Hannah that there may be old maps, but unfortunately, there's not. And these children agree to obviously train and go to war because they're trying to do this as a deal. And Neil, again, he's like the one that's not interested in it. But I remember that scene, they're getting ready to battle, and Neil was so scared. Even if Hahana volunteered to help, it was very scary. And these kids have never actually been in a battle, never actually been in war. And can you imagine now, like, they lived like a somewhat of a upper class, maybe middle class life or whatever at their home planet, and to go to this, I really felt bad for them because they had no idea how much rough it is outside of these galaxies in the Star Wars universe. But they got a taste of reality, and it really shook them up, and you notice that throughout the episode. And that's what I like about this particular episode is we're watching these young children who are going to become young adults in the Star Wars future of the cinematic universe. And they kind of showed it in a way where they're like, okay, this is not a game. Like, this is life or death. Like, even Wim is getting the idea, and even he knows this. And he's realizing where he needs to be. And a lot of them, too. A lot, especially Fern. Like, later in this episode, we see, like, after they get to the Falling Sanctuary, they find all of these old maps, and they're all, like, carved into these, like, beams type things, like statues or whatever that holds up the building, or just decorations of for the palace. And the one they needed was destroyed, and we find out it was by SM-33. His old captain programmed it, and the fact that his old captain, you know, hacked his system to make him forget the whole time of Atlas or Atten, it really did. But we seen Fern, you know, she had her moment when she broke down and said, I can't be a leader. And she started crying, right? And it was very interesting in the idea of what was going on. But also, we just kind of learned, too, that Wim is the one who gave her that pep talk. Reminded her, like, we wouldn't got this far without you. Like, you are truly a good leader. And for Wim to admit that shows how much he has grown from 4 episodes, basically. And I think reality's hitting him, too. Like, this is not like a bedtime story about him reading about Jedis. This is real life for him and them, right? And I really like these type of moments. And, of course, luckily, John Nonwood saves these kids and helps them get to the palace, of course. And we see him becoming more caring for these children, too. Like, these kids are growing on him, like, and he's starting to have a softer side, which he's always been a good guy. But he knows that from his experience in his past, you know, he's stepping up to try to protect these children and stuff. So, I mean, he had an opportunity to get a whole big army for getting back these, like, creatures. You know, they lost these, like, creatures that you can ride like a horse or whatever. And the fact that he's like, hey, I really want them. No, I want them. We saw that. So when they got SM-33 back, he was about to destroy those kids, but luckily didn't. And it just shows you where everybody's at now. And now we're finally seeing them, all these characters in the Skelton crew, pretty much start bonding and realize how much they need each other and how much they care. And that everything they're all trying to do is just for a good cause. You know, these kids want to go home. And whatever John Nonwood is up to, I feel like he knows that it's not worth it if these children get hurt, basically. And that's what they're showing us in this episode. So I really like this episode, and that's how it kind of ended, really. And I really like this, too, just because of the fact that we're seeing 2 different sides. We're seeing the adult side, and then we're seeing the eyes of a child. And sometimes the eyes of the child is that they're too innocent and they don't know what's really going on. And they're learning what it's like to trust somebody and not to trust somebody. But also in this episode, they learn what's it like to take a deal, make an offer, and see what it would be like to go through this. And like, this clan had the leader of this clan showed no mercy to these kids. He's like, either you don't go out there or they're gonna shoot them. And so they learn like the harsh reality of like doing businesses or getting what you want. And this is the type of stuff with a lot of these Star Wars characters that they're always linked to the path of corruption. And sometimes, some go good, some go bad, some go vigilante, but, it's really interesting to see, like, where he's going. So, the first topic I just want to bring up is, like, Neil. To me, I feel like Neil, I think that love is going to drive him crazy to, like an Anakin Skywalker type situation where he just goes on the dark side. I'm not saying he's going to become an evil Sith Lord, but I think he's going to be a corrupt government or, somebody within the New Republican, right? But I also believe that he could be the guy that goes against the grain and fights for the little guys, too. And same with Wim and Fern and KB. Like, they all are teasing, like, what path they could take. And it's real simple with Star Wars. It's either good or bad. And it's going to be interesting if they split up. But I don't think that yet. I think if they were trying to shoot for a season 2, you're not going to get that type of answer or storyline. I think they would say that for the season 2 or just tease it in a season 2. But what they're really doing good so far out of 4 episodes is setting up these kids like futures. And they always tease the idea like you don't know where they can go and you don't know how it's going to end. But pretty much the simplest way to know is at the end of this season, either they're all going to stay good or they're all going to turn bad, turn to evil, basically. And it's going to be interesting when and who does it. And they may all not, again. But there's so much potential that they're showing on this one episode, too. But I really like it. I really like this. And it had a really good positive message, too, of course. Just like the last one of stuff. But again, they're teasing some hints of where these characters may end up in their adult life, too. So, because you gotta understand with Star Wars, it's always like what choice you make that leads you to the main thing that can make you who you are, a part of this Star Wars universe. So, again, there's a lot going on with that. So, if I had to give this episode a 1 out of 10, I'm giving this a 7. Really good episode. And it looks like they haven't found the way home yet, but it's going to be interesting where they go next. So, with that being said, that's all I have with that. But I really liked it. I really did like this. I'm giving this like a 7. And I hope that in the next episode they give us a little bit more. I hope the pace just picks a little bit back up. And really, honestly, I have nothing really to complain about that. I think now I just feel like the pace has been a little bit too slow. And that's my only complaint. I just think the rest of the episode should just keep a fast pace to it. But that's my only complaint. Nothing really too major that I can dwell over. So that's my review, y'all. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Great Talking Entertainment Official Channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you can always be updated with all my latest content. Thank you guys, and peace